All right, hey, what's up everybody? Landon with LMR.com. In this video, we're gonna be checking out SVE's progressive rate lowering spring kit designed for the 1979 to 2004 Mustang. So you're probably watching this video because you have a car with a current suspension setup and you're looking at changing it up, or by some divine miracle, you have a car that still has the factory ride height and you're considering a lowering spring option. Well, the SVE progressive rate lowering spring kit is kind of the all-around or all-purpose spring. We built this spring and had it spec'd to not only firm up your ride, give aggressive style, but still retain some driving comfort. So the way a progressive spring works, it's pretty simple. As load is applied, the rate changes. So as the spring compresses, the rate will get progressively more firm. And speaking of those spring rates, your front spring will have a rate of 435 to 630 pounds per inch, and your rear spring will have a range of 195 to 350 pounds per inch. Now, as far as your drop amounts are concerned, well, that's gonna vary depending on the year range, trim level, and engine option of your Mustang. Without getting down the rabbit hole of your drop range or your drop amount, we have a list on the product page, so be sure you check that one out. But what we're gonna do in this video, we will measure the distance from the center of the wheel or the center of the center cap to the top edge of the fender. That way you have some sort of reference or value to go off of if you're considering the SVE progressive rate springs. All right, so moving along here, these SVE springs, again, they're built to our specifications right here in the USA by a coil spring manufacturer, and then they are powder coated in a very good looking metallic silver. As stated, these are designed to fit 1979 to 2004 foxbody, SN95, and new edge Mustangs. Speaking on behalf of Foxbody, it'll be for coupe, hatchback, and T-top cars, and then coupe only for 94 to 2004. We don't recommend these for convertibles simply because with the convertible mechanism over the rear axle, there's a little bit more weight, and if you were to run these springs in a convertible, kind of get some of that saggy bottom, where it'll lower it more in the rear than it will in the front. So if you have a convertible, I would stick to a lowering spring kit that's designed specifically for convertibles. Same rules apply for a car with an IRS or independent rear suspension. If you have a 99 to 04 Cobra or a Fox SN New Edge with an IRS swap, stick to a spring that is specific for an IRS. All right, so taking a closer look at what's in the box, you're gonna get 2 front springs, 2 rear springs, and a low profile polyurethane pinion snubber. The way you identify the front and rear springs is pretty easy. On the coil itself, we actually state the part number followed by a -F or a -R for front or rear. If you wanted to break that down a little bit further, another way you could tell these apart is that the rear spring has a coil diameter change at the bottom. As far as your orientation goes, both the front and rear spring will have a coil that is ground flat on the top. This indicates that it's the top of the spring. That's gonna get situated in the upper spring perch. On the lower spring perches for both front and rear, make sure you get these positioned correctly. Your lower coil on the front spring will go all the way to kind of the stop on the lower control arm, and then the rear spring, the lower pigtail or the lower coil will be situated on the back side of that perch and at the 6 o'clock position. And then lastly, we'll have the polyurethane low profile pinion snubber. This goes in place of the factory unit, and the reason for this is so that you don't bottom out your axle on the factory length bump stop. Think about this, you're lowering the vehicle. The axle is getting closer to the body of the car. In order to gain a little bit more clearance between the axle and the bump stop, you're going to install the provided polyurethane low profile bump stop. All right, so some parts to consider when lowering your 1979 to 2004 Mustang. The first part will be caster camber plates. So the reason why you want to run caster camber plates, especially on a lowered Mustang, is it's going to allow you to dial in that front end alignment, whereas factory components will have their limitations. Next will be a bump steer kit. Kind of the same rules will apply as caster camber plates. Bump steer kit is going to replace the outer tie rod, and it's going to allow you to properly align the steering geometry to get it back within spec. In a nutshell, bump steer happens all the time. It's just when you change geometry, that will become more exaggerated. So when you go over a bump, the car is essentially steering itself. Bump steer kit will allow you to get all that back within proper spec. Moving along here, up next, another part to consider will be shocks and struts. These are pretty simple. Just pick whichever shock and strut best fits your goals and expectations. Lastly, spring isolators. When it comes to spring isolators on Fox SN and new edge cars, it's kind of personal preference. I know all along the way of my years of doing this, sometimes I run isolators, sometimes I don't. Just kind of all depends on how I'm feeling that day. But when it comes to spring isolators, what they're designed to do, they're designed to dampen road noise and eliminate metal-to-metal contact. We have 2 materials available, polyurethane or rubber. Pick the material that you think will be best and go. I will tell you this, that because of the durometer being higher on a polyurethane material, know that it won't squish or compress as much. We're kind of splitting hairs here, but the car won't lower as much with a polyurethane isolator versus a rubber isolator. The next most important thing, or probably the most important thing, will be that once these are installed, take the car down to the local alignment shop and have it aligned. We do have an installation video on these particular springs, and we'll leave a link to it in the video description. All right, now let's take a look at a couple of the LMR cars. Also note that the drop amount, individual results will vary. Several things will play factor. You know, weight of the driver, weight of the belongings, if you have a subwoofer, so on and so forth. Every single measurement on every single car is going to slightly differ. These measurements are subjective, but what we wanted to do with the tape measure was to give all of you the value of how these particular cars sit. That way you can take those and you can cross-reference them to your own car. If you do this, make sure you're doing it on level ground. Up first will be the 1985 Black GT. This car looks really good. It has a set of 5.0 resto, 17-inch 10 holes, 17x8 front, 17x9 rear. Front tire is a 245/45/17. Rear tire is a 275/40/17. Both are Nitto 555 G2 tires. The measurement from the center of the wheel, or center of the center cap, to the bottom edge of the fender is 13.5 inch up front, 14.25 inch out back. Up next is the 1995 GT we call Opal Frost. Good looking car, has the SVE 18-inch drag comp wheels, 18x9 front, 18x10 rear, 265/35/18 Nitto 555 G2 tire up front, a 285/35/18 Nitto 555 G2 tire out back. The front measurement is 15 inches. The back measurement is also 15 inches. And then the last car here will be the 2004 Azure Blue Mach 1. It's rocking a set of SVE 17-inch Mach 1 style wheels, 17x9 front, 17x10 rear. Front tire is a 275/40/17 Mickey Thompson Street Comp. The rear tire is a 315/35/17 Mickey Thompson Street Comp. And then the front measurement on this car will be 15 inches. The rear measurement will be 15 inches. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Again, if you're in the market for a set of lowering springs and you're chasing that, I'm calling this the moderate drop. Doesn't drop it too much, doesn't drop it too little, it's just right. I would definitely consider a set of these SVE progressive rate lowering springs. That's all we have for you today. If you find value in what we're doing, please consider liking the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. And until we see you in the next one, for all things 79 to 2004 Mustang, keep it right here with the Real Enthusiasts, LMR.com.